Hi everyone, welcome once again to SCOM Weekly Encouragement Series. Today I will share with you from Mark chapter 4, verse 35 to 41. Let me read Mark chapter 4, verse 35 to 41. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. And other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern asleep on the cushion. And they woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" I know that most of us are familiar with this passage. We have heard it in Sunday school and have heard lots of sermon about it. Today, I just want to pick up certain things here that we can learn and put in practice in our life. We can see here that when the disciples and Jesus were crossing the Sea of Galilee, it was Jesus who said, "Let us go across to the other side." So going across the Sea of Galilee was Jesus' idea. It's Jesus who initiated it, and he told the disciple to do that. And the disciple did what Jesus said. They went under the boat to go across this Sea of Galilee. As they were going across the Sea of Galilee, a great windstorm arose, and the wave was breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. I don't know about you, but I don't like boats. Boat scares me. I get seasick. Even going on paddleboat, I get seasick. But I can just imagine the disciple going through this great windstorm. I'm sure you have watched those movies where the waves were like 10-story high and the boat is so small, and the wave can just crash on the boat, and that will be the end of the boat. That probably is what's happening. And I mean, some of the disciples are actually fishermen, and they were afraid. They were scared. But Jesus was sleeping. Just as an aside, this episode where Jesus is sleeping tells us that Jesus was human. He was tired. He was tired from whole day work of healing the people and teaching them the kingdom of God in parables, and then explaining to the disciples what the parable means. That's what they've been doing the whole day. And this is the evening, and he was asleep. The disciple came to Jesus and woke him up and said, "Teacher, do you not care that we're perishing?" And he awoke and he said, "Peace, be still." And the storm, the wind, all calmed down. And after all this, Jesus said to the disciple, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" We look at this whole episode, we see that the disciples, in the end, were saved from the storm. Yet, in the end, they were also reprimanded by Jesus for having such little faith. Let's look back again. The disciples were doing what Jesus told them to do. And in spite of the fact, they still face storm in the process. They were doing what Jesus wanted them to do, and they faced a huge storm, a storm that can almost destroy them. The good thing about the disciples is that they had Jesus in the boat. That's number one. Number two, when troubles arose, they went to Jesus. They approached Jesus, and Jesus calm the wind down. The other part of it is that they were reprimanded. Why were they reprimanded? If you look at how they approached Jesus, it says there, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" They said two things. "Teacher, do you not care?" And number two, "We are perishing." Let's examine these two statements. Is it true that they are perishing? Well, they could be perishing if the boat starts sinking. They could be perishing if the boat broke apart. They could be perishing when the wave hit them, but it hasn't happened yet. But the disciple already knew in their head that's what's going to happen. They jumped to conclusion. They went ahead and came to a conclusion that they are going to die. And when they thought about it, they came to Jesus and they said to Jesus, "Do you not care?" I mean, when has Jesus shown that he didn't care? He was sleeping. The disciple didn't even thought about the fact that Jesus was so tired that he was totally out. All the disciple cared about was themselves. The wave was huge. The ship was filling with water, and we're going to die. And they were scared out of their mind. They approached Jesus and accused Jesus, basically saying, "Teacher, do you not care that we're perishing?" And that's where the reprimand comes from. The reprimand says, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" The disciple acted, the way they acted showed that they didn't have faith. They didn't have faith in Jesus. Because if we go back again, we know that Jesus is the one who told them that they're going to go across the lake. And if they have faith, they would know that Jesus will carry them through to the other side. The same thing with us. I mean, when we look at what happened to the disciple, we can be going through life doing what Jesus tells us to do, and yet storm still comes. And when storm comes, what should we do? Like the disciple, we need to have Jesus in our boat. If Jesus is not in our boat, we will sink. Number two, when storm arose, we need to approach Jesus. We need to bring our problems to him. Some of us live as if Jesus doesn't exist. Some of us knows Jesus from church or Sunday school, but don't have him in our lives, in our boat, in our lives. We just know him, know about him, but he's not in our boat. And the second thing is when problems happen, we don't approach him. We try to solve it on our own. We use our intelligence, our friends, our connections to try to solve all the problems instead of approaching Jesus. But if we do what the disciple did, Jesus will calm the storm. Jesus will say, "Be peace, be still," and the problem will be miraculously gone. The second part of it is that we should not copy what the disciple did, so that we won't earn what Jesus says in the end. Do you still not have faith? It's not to copy what they did. Is not to do what they did. We do not jump to a conclusion that the worst things has already happened when it has not happened. We should not blame and say to Jesus, "You do not care about me. If you're God, why is this happening to me?" I mean, isn't that what we see a lot of time when bad things happen? We come to a wrong conclusion. And that will earn us what the disciple earned. Jesus saying, "Have you still no faith?" So let us learn from this small incident in the Bible. I mean, we can compare on contrast to the life of Abraham. Abraham was told to sacrifice his son. Go to Mount Moriah, take him there and sacrifice him. And when Isaac asked Abraham, "Where is the sacrifice?" Abraham's answer was very simple: "God will provide." That shows faith, as opposed to disciples saying, "Master, teacher, do you not care that we perish?" That's no faith. Contrast, God will provide. That is man of faith. Thank you for listening.